Welcome to Cut the COVID Crap Part 36. What went wrong with the COVID response? Sorry, old t-shirts, new ones coming up. Um, First, the UK Health Security Agency data, nothing much new in the last week. Still missing percentages of vaccination status. They don't do that anymore, unfortunately, for some reason. You see that the updated vaccination uptake is only very slowly increasing by 0.1%. Also for the booster shot, 0.1% per week. So not very much interest. Yeah, that's the only thing I got from that. Um, so yeah, I want to talk a bit about the COVID response, what went wrong. Because like yeah, if you look at the figures, like the the figures are clearly declining worldwide, except Taiwan. Taiwan is going like has protected themselves in terms of mandatory quarantine for anyone coming in, flying in for well 2 years, and now they got record cases, 12,000 a day. It's not much, but it's record cases and growing. Taiwan has to go through the motions as well. China, you never know exactly what's happening, but huge lockdowns. But yeah, I can't imagine they can contain it. But anyway, they have their own policies. Um, Australia, and New Zealand, roughly at the rate of 1% of the population per week get that COVID. That seems to be the running rate, and for the rest, other countries um, are below that already. They've gone through the motions already. So COVID is more or less a done deal. It will still go on, but at a slow rate. Everybody will have been exposed and gotten COVID, uh, knowingly or unknowingly. Anyway, uh, time to reflect. What has gone wrong with the COVID response? The initial response, I think it's fine to even the lockdowns. Like if you don't know what you're up for, fair enough. But at some point, especially with Omicron, um, uh, no, actually, I'll go back to my predictions. When they started talking about vaccinations and oh possibly a booster, early 2021, I was like, well, they're gonna go for boosters every half year or something ridiculous like that. I was wrong because they go for every 4 months or 3 months in Australia even. Anyway, other prediction when Omicron came, when like on my COVID prep that I recorded on the 21st of December, 5 months ago, um, that was titled "Don't Be Afraid of Omicron." It was clear from the data in South Africa already. It's contagious. It's very contagious, but not many deaths. So let it run. Especially if people had the opportunity to get vaccinations, let it run. And South Africa is fine. Um, uh, any country that has gone through Omicron has not seen significantly high hospitalization rates. Look at Denmark, like completely, they stopped the vaccination program. They don't invite people anymore to get vaccinated. They still can get vaccinated if they want, and so should the policy be. That's that freedom. Anyway, initial response I think is fine. To be on a careful side, but at some point you should say like, yeah, it's open it up. The push for vaccinations, I don't blame the pharmaceutical companies. I think what they've done is wrong, but if they're not regulated, then that's their natural behavior. I mean, um, they're in there to maximize profit, and that's it. So this is expected behavior. If you take on Pfizer and you take on Moderna, you kick them out for that matter. There will be other companies doing the very same thing. You just need to regulate those companies. Like if they produce data, verify those data independently, and that's clearly gone wrong with the government. They just let them um, go with their data. The revolving doors between FDA and in the US and the pharmaceutical companies is there's a clear history, and it's still going on. That is wrong. Um, and then, so I really think the governments were wrong to not check independently. We got to make the exception for Denmark. In Denmark, they made it apolitical, and they're the first ones to go back to normality. We can learn from that in other countries. Um, anyway, what is also clear, especially if you look at Ukraine as well, is the dominance of the mainstream media. I mean, it's unbelievable how people are influenced by the mainstream media. I mean, I was on the same side. I used to believe what I saw, but like with so many dodgy things going on with the I mean, if whoever you deal with sends out one message only a very one-sided message, you naturally you need to doubt them, right? If you do your own research, I mean, every doctor that takes himself seriously sees that the recommendations are inconsistent. I mean, take Western Australia, where they just relaxed the regulations a few days ago. Um, as unvaccinated, you can go in restaurants again. For a couple of months, you couldn't go to restaurants as unvaccinated, but now you can. But the people working in restaurants have to be vaccinated. What logic is that? I mean, that's got nothing to do with the health of the community. Nothing. There must be something else, and maybe it's just saving face. Maybe it's the pharmaceutical companies that somehow reward politicians. Who knows? I don't know. I'm not going to investigate that. But the fact is, the end result is not right. But people, yeah, swallow it. I mean, look at if you look back at what the French President Macron has said in the last year. It's ridiculous, like going after the unvaccinated. And now France is okay as well, but he's re-elected. I mean, if as an individual in society you don't care about being misled, yeah, then this is what you get. I mean, it's one of the few legal reasons, or one of the few legal means to stand up, um, stand up for your rights in society. The election process. Um, Same in Western Australia. I mean, we're going to get elections in Western Australia in the next few weeks. Still, 75% of the workforce in Western Australia is forced to have a vaccination. Um, Maybe you're vaccinated, but do you think it's normal? Do you think it's? I mean, I always look back at like even pre-COVID, I found that an interesting question. Where did they go wrong in Nazi Germany? I mean, they didn't exterminate Jews to start with. They started with not allowing Jews to become a doctor, or not allowing Jews to go to university. You know, that was accepted, and then it was taken further and further, and at some point they started to exterminate them. At what point, as a individual member of society, do you say enough is enough? And even though I don't belong to that group, it's not right. I mean, if you're vaccinated because you have to be vaccinated to keep your job, are you going to say like, okay, that's it, I'm done? Whoever is not vaccinated, um, it's their problem. I mean, we it's all about equality these days in terms of race and sexual preferences. But when it comes to vaccination status, it's different standards. I mean, as a member of society, you should really think about what you want to stand for. What is your limit, not for, regarding your own situation, but for others as well. What do you think is truthful and rightful? Um, yeah, and I find it disappointing every now and then that so many people are just going for the group thing. They belong to a certain group and they're happy with it, and whatever other group, whatever disadvantage other groups have, um, doesn't matter. Even if they, I mean, it's not that that most of the unvaccinated are having strange thoughts. Most of the unvaccinated people in the Western world have had COVID already. They have they have a better immunity than the people who have not had it and are vaccinated. So it's not a danger to society or something, and especially the younger people. Like this, why would you want to get vaccinated if you're young and healthy? I mean, you'll go through it. You're not a danger to society. You're not stupid. To accept, even if you're vaccinated, if you accept that those kind of people should be punished in society, it is a strange thought. But yeah, I'll put a link below in one YouTube video of after school. It's an interesting one. It shows, the title is "How an Obsession with Safety Leads to Mental Illness." Um, that after school makes pretty interesting videos about um, the how the psyche is influenced by the media basically, and the media are controlled by the um, few people that call the shots. Um, anyway, lastly, prediction wise, do you think it's over now? I mean, COVID is the big deal of COVID is gone. Now the bigger deal is Ukraine, um, but it's very similar to me. One-sided messages. The Ukrainians are good people. Putin is bad. So all the Russians need to be punished. What is that? I mean, if you play tennis and your nationality happens to be Russian, you cannot play tennis anymore. Um, why? Why? Why don't you speak up against that? I mean, um, was the I think I talked about it before. Was the Iraq invasion by the U.S. justified? Defend Kuwait, you could you could argue, but the second invasion, because of the weapons of mass destruction that were not there in the end, fabricated. Now you hear voices in the media, in the mainstream media, saying like, "Oh, this Russian supports supports Russia's actions and should be banned for life." Should we ban Americans for life because of the Iraq invasion? I mean, what the leaders in countries do has nothing to do with what individual people stand for. And even if you stand for something like, I'm particularly against wars, but like, uh, I don't necessarily think that supporting Ukraine with a lot of military um, tanks and weapons, whatever, against a nuclear power is particularly useful. I mean, it's where is it going to end? Do you think with conventional weapons you're going to defeat Russia? Is that going to minimize the casualties? I don't think so. I personally think that you're better off with a some kind of demilitarized solution. But anyway, different opinions, fair enough. But like in the mainstream media, one-sided message. Ukraine, we should support them. And Russians, any Russians, bad guys. Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing again. So where is it gonna lead? I'm thinking, mark my words, digital currency. That's gonna be the next big thing. War in Ukraine is gonna go on for a while. Like, yeah, happily getting rid of weapons in the West, and it's only Ukrainians that die. No supporting people. Um, anyway, once that is over, we get this inflation coming up, and that's going to be an excuse for digital currency, and that's going to be even more control. Mark my words. 30th of April 2022, digital currency is the next thing, and uh, think for yourself. If you look back 2 3 years ago, pre-COVID, would you think that it would be possible that in society you would be denied access and travel if you're not vaccinated for anything? Do you really think that was possible? Now it's accepted. I mean, it's luckily the rules are being relaxed, but now it's accepted. Well, the stepping stone is at a higher level. I think at some point inflation is going to come. They're going to say, "Oh, we need to protect the protect. Who do we need to protect? Poor people from inflation. So you're going to be rationed on what you can do, and you can only buy this with digital currency, and that's it. So no matter how much what you have, your rations this much per day." Um, Sounds like a conspiracy, right? We'll see. Vaccination passport sounded like conspiracy 3 years ago. But yeah, we should learn from this. Think for yourself, where is the limit for you? When do you stand up and do something? And what you can do depends on your position. I mean, I do t-shirts, my thing. And anyway, I'll leave it at this. But really think for yourself. What is the position yourself in Nazi Germany, not in 1940, but in 1933, when the first rules against the Jewish came. When would you say, like, hey, this is not acceptable anymore and we really should stand up? Because once it's 1940, you couldn't do anything anymore. In 1933, could have done something. What do you stand for as a human? See you next week.